You don't think some of these celebrities who are also black should come out and talk about these relations and talk about these issues? I get it. Yeah, no. I completely understand. Yeah, I'm not against them coming out and saying, oh, there's police issues and there's racial injustice and systemic racism and things like that in America, and we should deal with it. I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't. If anything, I like the fact that some of these athletes and some of these celebrities are coming out and supporting some of these civil rights issues and things like that. However, However, we also have to acknowledge the fact that these same people, the same people, right? These athletes, these black athletes, these entertainers and whatnot, also are the same ones that benefited or are benefiting right now off the systemic injustices that they're talking about. You guys who stayed with me this long, thank you guys so much. Go ahead and head on over to our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Deviant Core Podcast. And for those of you guys who are also on Facebook, we're on those platforms too as well at the Deviant Core. If you guys want to go ahead and listen to us, we are on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're Overcast, and Stitcher. So check us out on those platforms there. The NFL has been losing ratings ever since they got into this whole political movement. And not just the NFL, we're talking about the NBA, the NHL, National Hockey League, for those of you guys who still watch hockey. You know, all of these leagues right now, all of these entertainment hubs and centers, they're all losing money. They're all losing viewerships and ratings right now. Now, sure, some of it's because of the coronavirus and whatnot and what's been happening, but you know, other reasons could be because of what this article is about to say. You know, some of these got too political. So, NFL ratings plunge amid Black Lives Matter messaging, competition from the NBA and NHL. So, let's get into this here. Initial ratings for the first game of the NFL 2020 regular season plunged, meaning the league's social justice push and greater competition from other professional sports. The overnight Nelson Media research figures showed that the primetime Thursday night matchup on NBC Sports dropped 16.1% in key 18 to 49 demographic, attracting 16 million viewers in what could be a 10-year audience low, according to the deadline. The 34-20 win by Kansas City's Chiefs over Houston Texans was unusual in several respects, thanks to the novel coronavirus. Only 17,000 socially distanced fans were allowed at the Arrowhead Stadium, and the season began without traditional lead-up after the NFL canceled its preseason games. The game also gave viewers their first look at the NFL's newly unveiled social justice initiative. Prior to the game, both the Star-Spangled Banner, the Lift Every Voice and Sing, known as the Black National Anthem, were played. And End Racism, It Takes All of Us, were painted on in the end zones. Even so, the Texans remained in the locker room for both anthems. Players then locked arms at midfield for a moment of unity, as a video screen displayed messages such as "We believe Black Lives Matter" and "We must end racism," apparently prompting boos from the audience. Oh God. This number is alarming, said Outkick, the coverage Bobby Burak. Patrick Mahomes is the best show in sports, and the Chiefs are a thrill ride. If that combination can't get fans to ignore the exhausting nonsense, few games will. And then it just kind of goes on from there. Dude, this is very interesting indeed. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'm gonna say this. Why am I not surprised? Realistically, this is not a surprising thing. We've been seeing this since 2015, 2014. We've been seeing a rise in some of these athletes. We've been seeing a rise in some of these entertainers who get into politics, and majority of it, if you really think about it, was a political push. It was a political push by mostly the Democratic side. They kind of pushed that because they had access to a lot of these Hollywood supporters. You remember Hillary Clinton getting LeBron James and all these other people on board. So when they come out and they start speaking on these issues, First of all, it's a polarizing thing. It's a polarizing thing because what we often forget is that America is a big ass place. All right, America is a big place. We're filled with people with different beliefs, different thought patterns, and way things are. And realistically, there's nothing stopping other people from seeing those messages, although as well intentions as they may be, when they view that message, they may feel like they've been left out. When some of these athletes and some of these celebrities start getting involved in arenas that they shouldn't be involved in, well, guess what? Of course, you're going to lose some people. You're going to turn off from people. And let's not act like this stuff has been just all of a sudden happening. It's been happening since back when, 2014 and whatnot, right? When these celebrities started getting in and getting their audience and their fan base to lean to one side politically or lean to the other for those issues. And nowadays, Republicans are doing the exact same thing too. They're no different. In fact, I think both parties are just a huge waste of time at this point. But realistically, it's been happening. So why are we not surprised that the ratings are going down? Who is surprised? I'm not. And don't get it like, oh, Drew, like what are you saying? What are you saying, Drew? You don't think some of these celebrities who are also black should come out and talk about these relations and talk about these issues? I get it. Yeah, no. I completely understand. Yeah, I'm not against them coming out and saying, oh, there's police issues and there's racial injustice and systemic racism and things like that in America, and we should deal with it. I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't. If anything, I like the fact that some of these athletes and some of these celebrities are coming out and supporting some of these civil rights issues and things like that. However, we also have to acknowledge the fact that these same people, right, these athletes, these black athletes, these entertainers and whatnot, also are the same ones that benefited or are benefiting right now off the systemic injustices that they're talking about. What do I mean by that? You got guys, if our country really is as crazy as everyone is saying, and black people were as marginalized and subjugated as these guys are claiming there is, I'm not saying there's not. I've experienced it myself, but to the degree that these guys are saying, why is Oprah one of the richest women in the world? Richest black women in the world? Why is LeBron one of the richest players in the world? Why are some of these other African American athletes who are in these sports the richest people in the world? So if you're going to acknowledge race issues, also acknowledge the fact that there is hope. I can't stand when celebrities get up there and they get on there and they start talking about all this stuff, which is great, but also talk about the fact that you made it. You got millions in the bank account. So tell us how to do it. Go in our community and tell us how to do it. Stop sitting there and telling me all the time that, this is happening. We know, or this happened in the past or that happened in the past. We know, we experience it every single day, but tell me how to move on with my life to make them millions like you did, LeBron. Tell me how to make them same millions that you did despite all the racial stuff you did, Jay-Z. Tell me how to bypass all the systemic issues like you're saying and get to where I need to be like y'all, Beyonce. Tell me how to do it. I don't have a problem with you acknowledging that there's systemic issues, but also acknowledge the fact that there's a way out. And clearly there's a way out because you guys are there already. But then when we start getting too involved and too one-sided and saying, oh no, this system is against you, it does two things. One, which is the most disgusting of them all, when people hear the fact that they're victims and they're oppressed over and over and over and over and over again, they start to believe it. They really start to believe it. You know why? Because I bought into that machine. In high school, oh my God, watching CNN in high school, I damn near would think that I'm about if I walk out the door, a cop is gonna murder me. I remember it wasn't until I started having friends who were also law enforcement officers that I realized, oh, well, okay, this is a majority of their work. I mean, if anything, they're more worried about you than you are of them. But, most of them aren't out the, screw you up. They're not like dickheads or anything like that. They're actually just normal people who this is a job. It's a job. So they're not mean. But it turns your mind to believe that officer is against you. So you become scared. And what happens when you become scared? You start to resent. You start to resent the thing that makes you afraid. You start to hate it. So much so, like in our last story, that it's going to get someone to hating to the point that they want to walk up to two officers and pull the trigger. So that's what happens when we keep feeding the same messaging that we're oppressed. We keep feeding the same messages that we're victims. We keep get fed the same messages over and over and over and over again. And no one else is showing us a different way. No one else is showing us, okay, this systemic stuff, it exists. It absolutely exists. But you know what's you can survive and you can thrive within this system. Let me show you how, brother. Let me show you how, sister. Come here. Don't talk to these people this way. Don't talk to those people this way. This is how you act and this is how you get your way to the bag. Because I did it. And you can do it too. But if you keep telling people they're victims with no other alternative, guess what? There's nothing else for them to feel but fear and anger and resentment towards whatever it is that's making them upset or scared. And they grow to hate. So I'm not surprised that some of these viewerships are down. And the other thing it does is it makes people hate you. People who are from other groups, people who are from other cultures that don't necessarily see the exact same thing you're seeing, but still support some of these sports leagues, it makes them hate you. Because all of a sudden now, if they're walking around, they're seeing someone with a Jacob Blake sticker on their helmet, right? Justice for Jacob Blake. They're like, what is this? I came here to watch sports. I came here with all the stuff going on with Jacob Blake. What if the person who saw that, right? Let's say they're white, right? And during the Kenosha protest, when the Jacob Blake thing went down, what if they were among the ones where their businesses were attacked and destroyed by the riots that ensued after? And then they see one of their favorite sports players come on up, and it's got the symbol of the destruction of their businesses. How do you think they're going to feel? It's going to turn them off. Corporations, people have to realize, are not, they don't really, the NFL, the NHL, them doing all this Black Lives Matter stuff, they don't care. They don't care about black lives. This is just a happening right now. This is just a trend right now. They're just following the trend right now. They don't care about black lives. This is the trend that gets them least in trouble by people who are too emotional. So they go this path. Oh, I'm with y'all. Let me have all y'all push this. Meanwhile, it's hurting their pocketbooks. Coming out. Look, I got no qualms if entertainers, right? If they wanna go in and they wanna talk about this stuff, I got no qualms with that. Go ahead, do your thing. My thing is, don't be surprised when people stop fucking with you because you are doing this. You are an entertainment. You're supposed to entertain people. You're not supposed to choose one side or choose the other or get political. Politics has its own realm for a reason. For a reason, because it's all theater. It's all fake. It's not real, right? The back and forth and arguing back and forth, it's not real because we all know they're all millionaires and billionaires behind closed doors, and it's just a theater. So when you see corporations and you see sports and entertainments get into politics, people, of course it turns people off because it turns me off. When I see that, I know it's theater. I know they're acting. I know in the end, the only color that matters to a lot of these people is green. It's green. And I'm talking about your money. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you're black and white. I've been in those circles. I know. I've worked for top firms. I know this. When you're making money, especially when you're making money for your company, they don't care if you're a black dude. They don't care if you're white. They don't care if you're Hispanic. They see you as an asset that produces more money. So they'll treat you right. They'll treat you right. I remember having an exit interview for one of the firms that I worked with. And one of them, because I was leaving at the point when they were doing a whole diversity hire type of thing going on. And at my exit interview, they were, because with the company I worked, there was just a lot of white people. There were not a whole lot of black. Matter of fact, I think I was the only black person there, right, next to the guy who worked in the mail office. But I was the only black guy there, and essentially during my exit, what ended up happening is they were asking me, well, we want to get more people, more people of color, to come on board and join our firm. What do you think we should do? Should we, change our recruiting standards? Like where in our recruiting standards do you think we could tweak to get more people of color to come on board? And I said, and this is a pretty big financial firm, and I said, listen, man, you should change nothing about your recruiting process. I don't think you should change anything. Don't. Because I'd like to think that you hired me because of my skills. I'd like to think that you hired me because I can sell, I can talk to people, and I'm very personable, right? I would hate the fact that you hired me because of my color. I would hate that. Matter of fact, that would make me feel more useless than ever before, because I'm only here because of my skin color, and I'm not here because of the abilities and what I can do. So if you're going to ask me, I change nothing. And if people of color like me who can't meet the same standards that I was able to meet to come here, and if they can't do it, I wouldn't reduce a damn thing. Don't hire them. Simple as that. It's not a racial thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just you want the best person qualified for the job. It's how you run a business. A business. Okay? If I'm running a business to make money, I don't care. I'm going to hire the person who's the best for the job. I'm not going to hire someone who's black just because they're black. I'm not going to hire someone who's Hispanic just because they're Hispanic. If you can get the job done that I want you to have, and you are deserving of the rate that I'm hiring as, well, perfect. Color aside. So that's one of the other things. It's when we start to get into politics, when we start to dive into these issues, it all of a sudden starts to become a huge problem. It really does. Because now you're alienating people that shouldn't be alienated, and now they begin to resent you, and that's why your sports teams are suffering. It's ridiculous, man. The world is changing. It's changing, and we have to prepare for it. And that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Again, you can head on over to those platforms. We're on Spotify, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. Go ahead and subscribe to those platforms. Download these podcasts, all right? And for those of you guys who are listeners and viewers and you want to watch this, follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. We're on those platforms as well. If you want to get access to both these videos, go ahead and check us out there, support the channel, and that's all I got for you guys, man. See you next week.